London. My name is Andrew Parsons and I'm the curator of the London Scottish Regimental Museum. The reason I'm speaking to you today is because the London Scottish Regiment, the 14th Battalion, the London Regiment, served in what is now Israel and Jordan 100 years ago and more. They wore a kilt very much like this and this cap badge, and the regiment still exists as a territorial army and army reserve unit as part of the British Army. I'd like to speak to you about our pith helmet that was worn in 1917. We've got a Victoria Cross that was awarded on the 8th of December in the Battle for Jerusalem. There's a machine gun lock that was taken from an Ottoman machine gun by the man who won the Victoria Cross. We've got a second Victoria Cross that was awarded to a man at the Battle of Spectacle Hill at El Hod, and that becomes important when I discuss William Mackenzie and his headstone in Mount Scopus Cemetery. And on this side, we've got a pair of fantastic drums that were captured at Nebi Musa from the Ottoman garrison there and played in the pipes and drums of the London Scottish throughout the rest of the campaign in Palestine. The London Scottish were a battalion of the 60th Division under General Shea, which was part of General Allenby's army 100 years ago. Here are two drums that were captured by the London Scottish at the monastery of Nebi Musa in March 1918. The monastery was being used by the Ottoman Turks as a garrison, and although they evacuated the garrison without a shot being fired, the London Scottish occupied the garrison and found a set of drums there for the taking. The pipe band had no drums of their own because the sun had dried up the ones they brought from Britain, and this was an excellent opportunity to bring back a bit of rhythm back into the pipe band. They were picked up by drummers Ferguson and Turner and played throughout the rest of the campaign. There's a famous postcard that shows the pipe band marching out of a salt, and you clearly see in the background Curly Turner playing one of these drums. The drums themselves are goatskin with wood bound by rope. There's an attractive cotton decoration on the larger drum, the red and blue colouring, which may have been Ottoman Turkish. It may have belonged to the monks. We don't know. This final photograph shows Turner and Ferguson proudly carrying the drums and bringing a drum beat back into the pipe band. This is the Victoria Cross and campaign medals of Robert Cruikshank, London Scottish Regiment. He was awarded the Victoria Cross for gallantry in the Battle for Spectacle Hill at El Hod on the 1st of May 1918. His platoon were pinned down in the bottom of a wadi. The platoon commander, Lieutenant Silver, who is also buried in Mount Scopus Cemetery, and many of the other members of the platoon were killed or mortally wounded. Cruikshank volunteered to go back to company headquarters for help. He crawled up to the top of the wadi and was hit by a sniper. He rolled down the bottom of the wadi, bound up his wounds, and tried again. He did this no less than 4 times and had 8 separate sniper wounds. Eventually, he could move no further. Fortunately, the commanding officer saw this through his binoculars and granted that this man was brave enough to be awarded the Victoria Cross. Cruikshank survived the war and died in Leicestershire, in England, in 1965. I'd like to speak a little bit about Second Lieutenant William Mackenzie, the London Scottish Regiment. He died of wounds on the 12th of June 1918, having been wounded in the Battle for El Hod at the same action that Robert Cruikshank won his Victoria Cross. That was probably the bloodiest single battle for the London Scottish in the entire campaign. William Mackenzie is now buried at Mount Scopus Cemetery in Jerusalem. But there's a great story about remembrance and commemoration from his comrades and his family. So this is the certificate from the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. This is his medal index card, which indicates that he enlisted as a private soldier in November of 1915. He trained, was posted to our 1st Battalion, and was wounded on the first day of the Battle of the Somme on the 1st of July 1916. He recovered from his wounds and was then commissioned as an officer and posted to the 2nd Battalion of the London Scottish, which was then in Palestine. He was born on the 5th of November 1896, educated at St. Albans Grammar School, where he is commemorated on the War Memorial. We have photographs of young Mackenzie, aged 17 and a half, and the War Memorial at St. Albans Grammar School. The family was quite well to do. There's a picture of the house in the very fashionable still district of Notting Hill Gate in London. The great part of this story comes from this small postcard that was sent by his commanding officer from C Company, a Captain Robertson, to the man's father, that shows the hospice in which poor old Mackenzie died of his wounds, with an arrow pointing to the window of the room where he finally perished. On the other side is the story. In his father's pen, he has visited Jerusalem, 1931, and was shown this place, now an orphanage run by French monks. Underneath, in Captain Robertson's hand, says this little sketch of Saint-Pierre-le-Sion. Jerusalem was sent home on July 4th, 1918, by Captain Robertson, London Scottish, my son's final resting place. My son, William Mackenzie, London Scottish, died at the above June 12th, 1918, from wounds received in Jordan fighting on April 30th. The arrow points to the room in which he died. It's a picture of Mackenzie in uniform as a second lieutenant. The fantastic thing is, having once made the connection and been told where his son perished and was buried, then in 1931, our regimental gazette records his mother writing to the London Scottish Gazette, detailing the story of going to Jerusalem, visiting the grave, and visiting the orphanage where he finally died. This is all one man's story, who is buried amongst the 65 London Scots at Mount Scopus Cemetery 100 years ago.